friends. I'm Shamita from BCom ISM. Feel honored to invite you all for this program. It's a pleasure to invite our guest, Mr. Babu Balu, Technical Specialist, HCL Technologies. We are grateful for the acceptance for college invitation. Thank you, sir. A word of prayer in the morning is a day of blessing. So let us start upon with our college prayer song. I would like to invite our HOD, Dr. Kamul ma'am, to deliver the welcome address. Please, ma'am.
So, very good morning to all. On behalf of Guru Sri Shanti Vijay Jain College for Women, I deem it a great pleasure to welcome you for all our intercollegiate national level workshop on Python programming, organized by Department of BCom ISM, Information Systems Management. First and foremost, I thank our Honorary Secretary Sir, Dr. Gautam Vaid, and our beloved Principal Madam, Dr. M.K. Malati, for their constant support and encouragement to conduct all events in our college. It is indeed a great pleasure to have Mr. Babu Balu, a technical specialist at HCL Technologies, as a resource person and guest who has kindly accepted the invitation to present the workshop. Mr. Babu Balu, a seasoned professional with over of 16 plus years of industrial experience, with a broad knowledge in the system software development and application development. So, Mr. Babu Balu has completed his MSc Network Systems Engineering from University of Plymouth, England, and BE from EVP Engineering College. He is an experienced and quality and security specialist with a demonstrated history of working in the information technology and services industry. He's skilled in ISO 25001 enterprise software, ITIL, and IT service management. So he's also a blogger, trainer, mentor, and coach for engineering students and technical students in front-end engineering and solutions. His mission is to educate the interested students by giving professional excellence in information technology and career focus and global perspective. I'm happy to welcome you, sir, for this occasion, and please share your knowledge with us, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank,
ma'am. And please go ahead.
thank you, ma'am, for the speech. So you can start up with our program.
Thank you. First of all, I thank the GSS Jain College and the organizers, Carmel ma'am, and the principal Malati, and the honorable secretary for giving such a wonderful opportunity to share my knowledge with you all. And I think we have got enough introduction about me. So I hope all are safe and fine in your respective places. So we can start up with the workshop today. So the requirement for this workshop is actually you should have a laptop, but it is okay if you all have mobile phones. You can pick up a piece of paper and pen to take the notes, and probably you can practice some of the things which we are going to discuss today. Okay, because this is going to be a workshop. It's not a theoretical class. but even then we'll be covering some of the theory part, but it'll be mostly of practicals. So if you don't have a laptop, please feel free to write it down, because that is how we practice. Okay. And any doubts anytime, I hope the chat window is open for us to discuss. And yeah, you can stop me anytime, because this is going to be it's not going to be like a one to many session. You can always interact with me. I know many of you cannot talk to me directly, but use the chat window if you want me to stop anywhere. Okay. So let me share my screen. Just give a thumbs up once you see my screen. You're able to see.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Screen is
Okay.
visible.
Yeah. So this is the link I am going. Like those you have a mobile phone, maybe you can go to this link, or you can follow whatever I'm showing in the screen and take notes from it. Okay. I'll be asking questions here and there, so it will be an interactive session. That is how we learn hands-on. Okay. Okay. So today we'll be talking about Python. You know, Python is a programming language. Okay. So just we'll just directly jump into execution of one Python script right away. Okay. So you can see this try it yourself button here. Let's get into that. And this is the window for writing your script. Okay. So this is a browser. I haven't installed anything here. Okay. So Python could be run anywhere from your browser itself. Even your mobile phones could run Python. So this is the window for writing your script, and this is the execution window. So this is where you see the results. Okay. So I'm going to write something here. Say, hello students. Welcome to the workshop. So you can see there is a print function, and there is an open bracket here, and that is complemented by a closed bracket here. Okay. So if you open a bracket, you have to close it. And there is a double quotation mark here, and there is a double quotation at the end also here. So that is how we enclose a string. So anything which is enclosed in the string can be printed using the print statement, and that appears here. So I'm going to run this new script which we modified. So you can see that the program has been run and you got the output. So it's going to be very easy for you guys. Okay. So basically, I just want you to feel comfortable. That's why I directly jumped into the practicals. Okay. Okay. Little bit history about what is Python and what is it used for. So we'll see those things. Okay. Yeah, before that, there is one exercise coming. Insert the missing part of the code below to output hello world. So can somebody help me? What we should fill it with this? What is the missing part here? They want to print hello world on the screen. So what is missing here? Anybody feel free to type it in the chat window. In that way, we can understand that the chat window is also working for us. Anybody want to give a try? I hope I am audible. Okay, no worries. I will fill up this. blank. Okay, so just now we saw that the print function is required to print something on the screen. So functions always have brackets, and inside that we have to give some arguments. Okay, so I'm going to give print and submit my answer. So if I submit, it says correct. Okay, so let's go back to the tutorial here and go through some history about what is Python. Okay, so Python is a popular programming language. It was created by Guido van Rossum and released in 1991. Okay, but recently it has taken up and it has actually overtaken quite a lot of programming languages, and it's one of the widest used programming language. Okay, so it is used for web development, software development, and mathematical calculations, and whatever scripting we are saying, right? It could be done, and it is also used in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data, data analytics. Okay, any technology you name, even in bioinformatics, even in biology and statistics, and even if you take stock exchanges, everywhere this Python is being used right now. Okay, so what we are going to focus on this workshop is just the core Python, like what is Python, how it can be used, and from there where you can go. Okay, so those things we will be discussing. So why Python? There are many languages. Python is compatible with Windows, Mac, Linux, and even Raspberry Pi. There is a small computer, a pocket computer. Okay, hardly it's around 5,000 rupees or something. It can even run on that, and it's very similar to the English language. Like you do something, right? You for each and everything, something like iterative. So those things are very easy to achieve. It is more like writing a sentence and running it. Okay, so it's very easy, and that doesn't mean you should be very familiar with English. Okay, English is just a language, so as Python. Okay, and like you might be trying to achieve a very difficult task, and if you write that in other programming language, you have to write a more number of code, more number of lines of code. Okay, but in Python the same thing could be achieved in 3-4 lines. I'm just giving you an example. Okay, and Python runs on an interpreter system. It runs line by line. Okay, so it will run like if you write some 5 lines of code, and if there is a problem on the 4th line, it will come and stop there. But unlike compilers, they compile the entire code and give the error, if error or warnings. So before clearing all those errors, you cannot continue. But Python is an interpreter system. So the version is very important. Recently, people are moving to Python 3. Okay, Python 2 was quite popular, but people are migrating to Python 3. And still, some development systems, they are into Python 2 and they are trying to migrate to Python 3. And there are many development environments. Like I showed you this environment, right? You can run it from browser. That may not be always feasible. Just for the workshop, I'm showing it in a browser environment. But you may need to install something like PyCharm, an environment where you can edit your code and run the code, see the output, do many things from it. Even debugging also is possible. And Eclipse is also very famous uh, IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. Okay, and we tried out this one, right? So I think this is good enough to start with the introduction, right? So we'll move on to the next topics. So this topic is about how to install Python in your system. Okay, so probably this I will cover this in the next session. Okay, because I don't want to spend time in showing the installation and all. Maybe I will record that in a video and I will share it with you. We'll directly jump into the details. Okay. So Python as a shell, just for information, if you have installed Python on your system and if you go to the command prompt, your Windows command prompt and type Python, you will get a shell like this. You will get an interactive shell like this, wherein you can find the version of Python. So I told you that Python 3 is recently used, right? So you can see the version here and you can give the commands to it and you will immediately get the output here. So you give the command, you get the output. Okay, so this is an interactive shell we call. It's not like an editor wherein you type some 5 commands and then you execute. It's not like that. Okay, just for information, I'm saying. So Python has a syntax. Okay, so every language has a grammar, right? If we are not following that grammar, people will not understand anything. Okay, so similarly, Python also has a grammar. So that grammar is what we follow, like brackets. If you open, you close it. So many things are there. We will slowly get there. Nothing to be alarmed of. Okay. So this is a simple decision-making statement where you are asking if 5 is greater than 2. Okay, and you print 5 is greater than 2. Okay, it's as simple as it is. So let's try this and find out what grammar we are talking about. So these are the grammar we are talking about. So if is a keyword, it's a Python keyword. It's not a function. Functions always have bracket like this. Okay. So this is a function. I'm just making out some name. Okay. So it's a function where you can see there will be some bracket opening and closed brackets. Even you can see that the color itself tells you that it's a keyword. It's highlighted in blue color. Maybe I can increase the font size for you guys. So if 5 is greater than, this is a greater than sign, and greater than 2, there is a colon here. Okay, these are part of the Python grammar. You have to follow this, otherwise you will get an error. This is to denote that this if statement block begins. Okay, so if I delete that colon, let's see what happens. We always should make a lot of mistakes. Only then we will learn a lot. Okay, see here, it clearly says Python is um, very communicative, right? It clearly says it's a syntax error, invalid syntax. It says you are not following the rule. Okay, so Python, so pay attention to these warnings or errors, so through which we can solve the problem. So here what it is saying, it is asking to put a colon. So if you add a colon and run, now it is running fine. Okay, so it says 5 is greater than 2. Okay, and here you can see there is a spacing here, so that is also part of the grammar. That is the indentation we say. So there are 2 spaces. Maybe it differs from editor to editor. You might need to add 4 spaces, 4 blank spaces. You have a space bar in your keyboard, right? You have to use that. So just I'm removing the spaces here. I want to show how Python reacts to it. Okay, so this line is fine, is a legitimate line, that we haven't made any mistake because there is a colon here, and this line we have removed the spaces. So I'm going to run it here. Again, Python, see, it very clearly communicates that there is an indentation error. You did not leave spaces. Okay, so spaces are very important and you have to be consistent. So we are planning to use two spaces. So what does that mean is, it is like saying that this statement belongs to the if block. Okay, but this is not a legal statement. I'm just telling you like how we write it, right? Maybe in a piece of paper. So Python has its own rule which we have to follow. So you have to give two spaces. So once you give two spaces, automatically the color changed, right? And now if you run it, it is running fine. So if you want to add more statements inside this if block, then you have to be consistent by leaving two spaces here. So I'm going to add some statement here. It is raining here. Okay. So you got two statements inside this if block and both are executed because this condition is satisfied, or this condition evaluated to a true boolean. So boolean means true or false. There are two options only. Okay, so this evaluated to a true. True means maybe like positive, you can say. So 5 greater than 2 is correct. Yes, it is correct. So that is why it got executed. What will happen if I say 5 less than 2? Is it a correct mathematical evaluation? So 5 less than 2 will evaluate to a false, right? It's not true. 5 cannot be less than 2. So what will happen? Because this condition evaluated to a false, these statements will not be executed. So we are going to see that in action. So I'll run it. Nothing is getting printed here, right? So you understood how this if statement works. And if I want to write some more statements outside the if block, then I have to make sure that I remove the spaces. Okay, so I say I give some print here because print is very friendly for us. Got a rainbow. So you can see clearly there are two spaces here to denote that these two statements belong to the if code block. And here there are no spaces in the front. So this denotes that it is not part of the if statement. Okay, I'm going to write some more string to be descriptive. It is not part of the if statement. See, we got this print statement because it is outside the if, right? We have put a descriptive message here. So because it is outside the if code block, it is coming. But these print statements did not come. That is because this expression evaluated to be false. It is false. 5 cannot be less than 2. Okay. So if I want to get back these two print statements, I need to make it true. So how do I make it true? I can make it 5 is equal to 2. Is 5 equal to 2? No, right? Again, it will be false. You can see that I have put double equal to. That is not a mistake. That is how we compare for equality, right? If both the sides are equal or not. That is how computers do it. If you put single equal to, it means like assigning from right to left hand side. We will come to that. Okay, this is for checking the equality. So this will also be evaluated as a false. If you want, I can run it and show you. Because 5 is not equal to 2. Okay. So what about not equal to? Can we check if 5 is not equal to 2? Is there a operator for that? Yes, it is there. So you need to have this exclamatory symbol followed by an equal to. That means it is not equal to. Okay. So we are going to check if 5 is not equal to 2. Yes, they are. They are not equal. So this condition will become a true and these statements will be printed. And this also will be printed because this is not anyway related to the if statement. Okay. So we should be getting all these 3 print statements. Let's see that in action. Right? You got all the 3 statements printed on the screen. So just we'll go back to the course now. Okay. So can you tell me what is the syntax error here we just learned? Can you help me? I think enough of talking, like you guys can interact now. HOD ma'am, can they type any message here? Is that possible?
Sir, so actually the question will reach somewhat late to the students, sir. So that due to network problem. So they'll
Okay,
reply
okay.
it for some.
Yeah, yeah, I understand because it's being broadcasted, right? Yeah, okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Unless they understand, I'm happy about it. Okay. So,
Sure, sir.
so this is the thing which we just learned. See, there is a what error is there? They're asking you to find out. So let's run it. See, there is an indentation error. How do I fix it? I did not give the spaces properly. Only if I give spaces, then only I can communicate to Python that this print statement belongs to the if statement. This code block belongs to if statement. So I added some space here just now. I added 2 spaces like this. So after adding, I'm going to run it. And we have fixed our first bug here. So a bug is a defect. So we have cleared the first defect, right? So you should be happy. Um, yeah. Okay. So we'll continue. So here the number of spaces is up to you as programmer, but it has to be at least 1. So it's not like that. You should at least give 2 spaces, but you have to be consistent. See here more than 5 spaces have been given and here 1 space. This is not good. It doesn't look good. Nobody can read it, right? Even if you write a paragraph in a piece of paper, we write some bullet points, we leave some spaces, we leave a margin, right? You can compare this with a margin. We always draw some margin and just after that we write. So something like that. And we have to be consistent. If one page we are following a margin, then the next page you diminish or reduce the margin, then it won't look good, right? So that is the same ideology here also. And this is a syntax error, clear syntax error, because we are saying that this print statement belongs to the if statement and this print statement also belongs to if statement, but the spaces are inconsistent here, so this will cause an error. So which line it's saying it's error? Line number 3. Which is line number 3? This is line number 1, 2 and 3. So here We have to adjust it. So I'm going to give two spaces. Right? In my work, I actually give 4 spaces. So here I'm giving 2 spaces because this is just a browser. Okay. So I have given 2 spaces. And I made them packed to this if statement. They all belong to this if. Now run it. Now we got the output without any error. So please make sure you are giving consistent spaces and follow the same. And now we come to variables. It's one of the easiest and most useful topic actually. Okay, let's see that in action. So you would have done some very like mathematics and all. You would have written something like x equal to 5, something like that. So don't worry, this is not algebra and all. You need not worry about mathematics. Mathematics has no relation with programming. Okay, I promise. You can be happy. So x equal to 5. That means what I am saying here is I am taking a box. Imagine an empty box, something from Amazon cardboard box. It's an empty box. And you put the number 5 into it. And you write a label as x. That is exactly what we are doing here. We are giving a name for the box so that we can identify later. So x is the name of the container. And 5 is the value which resides inside the container. Similarly, hello world is a string. I told you strings have to be enclosed within quotation marks. Okay, if you remove the quotation marks, it will throw an error. So you are putting hello world into a box and naming that box as y. So whenever you call x, the value 5 will be printed, and whenever you use y, the value hello world will be substituted in place of that. So I hope you understood this topic, this idea behind the variables. So these are variables. Okay. I'm going to give some meaningful variable names, okay, to make you understand better. So I'm going to say this is the way you are wishing people, right? You're wishing people, say like hello, uh, like good morning. Okay. It might be a very big speech also, like the introductory speech given by your peer, right? So it could be a very big speech also. And here, like what time we started at 11 o'clock. Okay. So I'm giving time equal to 11. And whenever I want to say, when I want to print 11, I can just use time because now it's more meaningful. And this is the wishing variable. So if I print this, and you will see that 11 will be printed on the screen on the first line, and hello good morning will be printed on the second line. And you have to pay attention that there are no double quotation here because it is not a string, it is a variable. Okay, only if it is a string we have to add these double quotations. Okay, and it's, you can see it appears in blue color for a string, but this one appears as black. So this is just a variable, the name of the box, not the value. So what the value inside the box will be printed on the screen. Let's run it. Yes, you got the time we started, which is 11 o'clock, and our teachers wished us good morning. So you got both the print statements. Now I'm going to add Suppose if you are making a mistake, you have added a double quotation like this. Okay, what will happen? The Python interpreter will not know what you are trying to do. It is a string according to Python. Even though a variable in in the same name it resides, but this is something different because you have added double quotation here. You have enclosed a string. So string is something which Python doesn't check for any validity. It's not valid or invalid. It doesn't care about it. It just prints it on the screen. So now if I run it, I will not get the value 11. Instead, I will get time. The whatever string I have put here, time. So let's do that. Yeah, you got time, but that is not expected, right? We wanted to print the exact time we are going to do this. So I correct my mistake by removing the double quotation. Now I run it. Okay. So now the problem is fixed. Okay. Now let's go back to the topic. Okay, comments. Comments are very useful and very easy. Okay. So what are comments? So Python has a commenting capability for the purpose of in-code documentation. Okay, that's very interesting. What is documentation? And Python comments start with a hash symbol or a pound symbol. We call it either way. Okay, hash or pound. You press Shift and the number 3. So hash symbol followed by anything is treated as a comment that will not be executed by Python at all, and that will not be coming in any output. It is purely for documentation. I'll tell you with a good example here. So time equal to 11. Do you think that everybody will understand that whatever I said, like 11 o'clock we started this workshop? If they just read this 4 lines of code, can they make it out? Definitely not. Okay. So I can add a comment, hash symbol, and time we started the workshop. And here, wishing all the audience. And here it's explanatory that we are printing the time, print the output on the screen. Okay, this is purely for documentation. Okay, when you write a piece of program and you submit it to the your professor, so he or she will be going through your program and can understand this easily. Oh, okay. So you have declared a variable for holding the time you started the workshop. Okay, I understand. And this is for holding the variable, holding the wishes in a variable. Okay, I understand this. And now you are trying to print it on the screen. Okay, so all 3 things done. Okay, full marks. And also not only for your professor, even when you start working, it might be helping your colleagues, because we all will be working on a project, and at that time people will be contributing code to the same file, to the same program. In that case, if you are writing comments, it will help your colleague to understand it better. And even for you, if you have written a program 6 months ago and if you come back and see that, you will not understand it. If you want to understand yourself, then you put the documentation, the code. This is not going to affect the output at all, because I told you comments are not executed by the Python interpreter. It is purely for our understanding. So if I run it, there will be no change in the output. Okay, so that's about comments. And I think we already solved this. insert the missing part of the code below to output hello world. So let's try it one more time. I added a print statement. You can say print is a function. There are brackets, and we have enclosed a string, not a variable. Strings have double quotation. Variables don't have any quotation. Okay, and just trying to submit the answer. Yes, it is correct. Okay. So let's go to the next section. I hope everybody are comfortable so far, because you're not interacting. I'm not able to conclude that you all understood, and am I going too fast or too easy? Anything, feel free to comment. Okay. And comments need not be on top of the statement. It can be on the right hand side of the statement also. This is also allowed. So here you are printing hello world, and you're saying this is a comment. Okay, I can write anything, something blah blah blah, no harm, because it's not going to execute it. Okay, this is also a way to write comments. But remember, you cannot do like this in the beginning of your statement. Whatever valid programming statement you are writing, and if you put a hash symbol, that will also be converted as a comment, and and you will not get any output for that. And you can also see that the color has changed everything to green. All are treated as comments. So please make sure that the comment is either on the right side of your statement or on top of the statement. So I'm removing this. Only by making mistakes we learn. I am just repeating it. So always feel free to write down all these things and learn well. Okay. Yeah, this is what I was telling you. If you comment a statement, a valid Python statement, then it will not be executed. There is a advantage for this. I'll tell you why. Okay. So I'm just going to create an error. I'm going to remove the double quotation at the end of hello world. I told you, right? Quotation marks should be open and closed. But I have created an error here. So I'm trying to run it, and I get an error saying syntax error, and it actually points an arrow mark also where that error is supposed to be residing. So it's very helpful, right, Python? And it says line 1, everything it gives. While scanning string literal, EOL, end of line. Okay, while scanning string literal. So it's very clear. But you don't know like which line caused the error. So you can actually comment it. Okay, let me comment the first line and run the program. So basically it helps in debugging also. You can comment some piece of the code and avoid them being executed by the Python interpreter. So this first line is not executed, and you are getting cheers mate. So now now you have some idea that you don't have any problem in the second line. So there is some problem in the first line only. Okay. So now you remove the command and you see it carefully. See, there is a double quotation, and there is a double quotation missing at the end of the string. So I'm adding it. So this is another usage of comments. Comments is used for documentation purpose. Yes, we all agree. But it is also used sometimes in debugging also, to actually comment some part of the code and just run remaining part of the code and then understand and come back and remove the comment. So comments are very useful. Okay. So suppose if you are going to write a multi-line comment, a multi-line comment appears like this. So there are 3 lines here. So every line you have to put the hash symbol. Okay. So every line starts with a hash symbol and you are doing like this. Yes, this is also a comment. So how I can give you a meaningful example? I can give you like Python workshop and author, student name, and some description. My first program. Okay, so this is a very meaningful example, I would say, rather than the previous one. So you have a multiple line of comments. Anyway, we told you that is purely for documentation purpose and nothing will come in the output. Okay, but this is a bit tedious, right? For every line you have to add the hash symbol or the pound symbol. Okay, so they are trying to tell you something which is more easier to follow. So here they have given double quotation marks 3 times. Okay, triple double quotation marks and triple double quotation marks here. One at the beginning and one at the end. All the lines inside this are treated as comments. So see here, every comment, every line you have to put a hash symbol. Okay, so let me close the unused windows. Okay. Okay, so let's try it. So the output doesn't have any difference because these are just comments. Okay. So I can move these things now to this one. And there is no need of the hash symbol now. Every line I need not worry about. I can even write some notes here. So I need not worry about the starting every line with the hash symbol. This is a program. I am liking Python. I am a programmer. Okay. So these are all comments. So we learnt about single line comments and now we have learnt about multi-line comments. So multi-line, any number of lines within this frame is treated as a comment. And not only double quotation mark, even you can use single quotations also. So I will show you that example. So 3 single quotation marks and 3 single quotation marks at the end. You have to be consistent. You should not mix single and double quotation marks together. Okay. So whatever you started off, you finish it with the same. This is also a multi-line comment. See, no error. Okay. So there is an exercise coming for us. Okay. The exercise is comments in Python are written with a special character. Which one? So this is supposed to be a single line comment. So what is the symbol for that? What is a special character? I told you about the hash or the pound symbol, right? So I press Shift T, I get the hash symbol, submit my answer. Yes. Okay, how many of you got correct? Okay, now we are going to go to creating variables. Okay, Python has no command for declaring a variable. A variable is created the moment you first assign a value to it. So don't worry about these things. So I told you about the container example, right? Or the cardboard box. So you have an empty box and you give a name to the empty box as X, and you open the box and put some things into it. So that thing, that value is the number 5. And similarly, there is one more box, a separate box. We name it as Y and put the value as John. Okay. So I don't like X and Y. I also don't like mathematics like you. Okay. So we will give something like, let's try it in the editor. Okay. So let's change the variable name to class. Maybe standard. And this is name. Okay. So will I get 5 and John now? Any problem? There is a problem. Okay. Let's see that. So you got an error saying line number 3, which is line number 3. I think this one. And it says X is not defined. Yes, Python complains. It is a valid complaint, right? Because you did not say what is X. You're saying X, but you didn't put something on the box X. And you did not put Y also. So if I comment this line, I might get the error on line number 4. Let's see that. Yes, this time the error went to the line number 4 because line number 3 is commented. We know that comments will not be executed, right? And here we are seeing name error. Y is not defined. You did not say Y, what it is and what it has. You did not say anything, but you want to print the value of Y. How can I do that? So Python is complaining on you. Okay. So how we should correct that error? We should give the correct variable name. So standard is the correct variable name. So standard, and here we print the name. And imagine remember that we should not put the quotation here. Quotation is used for strings. Okay. These are variables. Now you got the output saying John is studying in 5th standard or something. Probably you can fill the comments here. Okay. So Python has data types. Okay. Don't worry about the word like data type and all. So data type or the type so defines what that container can hold. So if I take a water bottle, that water bottle can take water or coffee or anything liquid state, right? But if I can I put some piece of paper into it, it's not meant for that. So every type or every container can hold some respective data on that. Okay, but Python takes care of it automatically. So here you are saying you have a box and you name it as X and you put the value 4. So now it is taking the shape of holding the number. So it became an integer. Now what you are saying, you are overwriting, you are removing 4 and you are overwriting some with a string, with a name of a person. So once you put that, 4 is gone. Okay, 4 is no more there. And X becomes a string variable. Earlier it was an integer variable. Now it became a string variable. I will tell you that in a practical way. Okay. So here X was 4. And in the second line, we made X as Sally. And in the third line, we are printing the value of x, and that has outputted Sally. So that means 4 is gone. Let's see that by introducing one more print statement here. So we are printing x here on the second line. Let's print it. So you can see initially the value of x was 4, and we are able to see that. But once in the third line, when we have overwritten 4 with the string Sally, there is no more 4 there. So when you print it, only Sally is coming. Okay. So I wanted to add one more print statement here, wherein you can understand uh, how x is changing. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a comma, and I'm going to print the type of x. Okay, type is another function. See here, type, and I put a bracket here, open bracket and a close bracket, and within that I gave x. So that means I wanted to print the type of x. What kind of container it is? Is it a water bottle, can hold water, or is it a microwave oven meant for holding food? Okay, so something like that. So I'm going to print the type of it. Let's print it. So the value of x here is 4. So that is fine. And what is the value of the type of x? What type is x? X is an integer. Integer can hold numbers. Okay. So that is what is the output of this statement. So forget about class and all. They are advanced topics. I don't want to introduce advanced topics in the beginning. So just have the faith that it is another easy subject. Okay, we'll go into that later. As of now, you have to understand that this type, the type of the variable x is integer. So far, so good. Okay, I'm going to copy this and paste it on this line after I assign a string. Okay, this is an assignment operator, right? I told you about single equal to means assignment from right hand side to left hand side. So now what type will be x? So that is what will be the most interesting part to know. Here you can see the second print statement has printed Sally for the variable x. The value is substituted, and the type of x is str. Str stands for string. So by doing this, what we did is we converted the type of x from integer to a string. Or maybe we can say we didn't convert anything, we have just overwritten it. Okay. Actually, x gets allocated in a different memory location, but I'm not saying those details. I'm not going to those information just to confuse you, but just try to understand from the overview. Okay. So x has become a string. Earlier, it was an integer. Okay, so type statement will print the type of the variable. Okay, and I'm going to give some more types here. Let's print let's say house rent. There is a variable like this, house rent. See here, there is an underscore because you cannot give spaces for variable names. Okay, so that's the rule here. I'm just giving an underscore just for readability. I can give even like this, but I'm giving an underscore here. So house rent is something like 10,000 and 50 paise. Assume like that. Okay. And here I'm going to print house rent and the type of house rent. So I want to know what type is house rent variable. We know x was integer because it was holding the number 4, not 4.5, something like that. It's a whole number. But here it's a floating point number where you have decimal fractions, right? Let's run it. Here you can see that the house rent has been printed, and then the type of the variable house rent is float. So there are special types here within Python, and you need not worry about it. Python takes care of them automatically, but you need to play with the rules because an integer can be added together or multiplied, divided, so many things you could do. But a string, we will see how multiplication comes to string, okay? But otherwise, we cannot do any mathematical operation on a string. So it is your duty to play carefully with the type. Okay, we'll go to those things later. So this is exactly I was talking about. This is about casting. Okay, so if you want to cast, so cast is like the die cast, right? You create shapes out of the cast, something like that. So you have an integer and you convert it to a string. So for those things, you can use these functions. Str will convert 3 to the number 3 to the string 3. See the quotation marks here. Okay, so the number 3 is converted to a string. And here the number 3 is converted to a number 3. No change. It's getting converted to an integer. It is already an integer. And here the number 3 is converted to a floating point value. So it adds a decimal point followed by a 0. Okay. And this is exactly I just introduced to you guys that the type function can get the data type of the variable. We just saw that in action. So now you can predict, right? Now you know the drill and you can predict what will be the output of the screen. So x is 5. So we have a container x and we have put the value 5 onto it, and we have a y container and we have put John. John is a string. And what will be the type of x variable? It will be an integer, right? It doesn't have any floating point. And what will be the type of y? It will be str. Str stands for string. Okay, let's see that. See here, it's very simple, right? Python is getting easier, right? Slowly. And this is about single or double quotes. So you might have a confusion whether I should use a double quotation or a single quotation. Anything you like, you can use. But you have to be consistent. You cannot mix. You should not start with the double quote and end with a single quote. That is not allowed. But if you are consistent, you can use anything. Start with single, end with single. That is also a string. Both are same. Okay, so it is printing John here, and this is also printing John here. So the double quotation and single quotation difference doesn't make any significance here, right? So you can make a note. Yeah, Python is case sensitive. See, there are some sensitive people, right? We say like people are very sensitive. So something like that. Python is also case sensitive. Python is very sensitive about it. So if you have a lowercase letter a and assign 4, and don't assume that uppercase a also will be uh, is going to overwrite 4 on the 4 with Sally. Both are different because it is case sensitive. So the small a is not equal to capital A. That is what they are trying to say. So in your early example, we saw something like x equal to 4 and x equal to Sally, where x, the second line, has overwritten the first value 4. But here, it's not like that. They both are different. That is what they are trying to say. Python is case sensitive. Case means lowercase or uppercase. So it hasn't overwritten the value 4. To demonstrate that, they are giving us an example. So A is 4, small a is 4, and the caps A is Sally. Why don't I add some string to be more descriptive? Okay, so I will say A is like this, small a, and I will add a bracket. A is and a comma. Don't forget the comma. I have added a space here, but that is not needed. I'll remove it. I think the comma itself will automatically add. So this for Sally, I don't get what they are trying to say, right? So I can add some descriptive print statements. Feel free and see that there is a comma separating the arguments. And this is not having any double quotes. So this is treated as a variable. So the value of the variable will be substituted. Let's run it. Now it's more descriptive, right? A is 4, A is Sally. So let's make it even more meaningful variable names. Something like roll number 4, name Sally. So if I run, now it will work, right? No, it will not work because A is not defined, right? We saw that error already. So you have to make the changes accordingly. So roll number of the student is roll number. Name of the student is name. Okay. So name has Sally in it. Roll number has 4 in it. Let's run it. Wow, it's pretty neat, right? Roll number of the student is 4, name of the student is Sally. It's very descriptive, and the variable names are also meaningful. It's not A, caps A, it's not confusing. It's not X and Y because we don't like mathematics. So we are giving meaningful variable names, and it's more readable also. And the print statements are very much descriptive. They give us a feel of being in college. Okay. So it's not just about learning the rules, but also write code which are more understandable and more manageable by everyone. Okay. So there are rules for having variable names. We already told Python is very sensitive. What sensitive? Case sensitive, right? Python is case sensitive. And also, I told you that we cannot have spaces in between variable names. They will become illegal. Okay, so these are some of the legal variable names, and there are some rules. We'll go over that. A variable name must start with a letter. Must start with a letter. So numbers are not allowed to start the variable name, or it can be an underscore. A variable name cannot start with a number. That's exactly I told you. Okay, a variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscores. So you cannot give like password type of variable names. Okay, I welcome at 123 exclamatory mark. Those things are not allowed. Only alphabets, caps, lowercase, uppercase, numbers, and underscore. These are the three groups only allowed for creating a variable names. So I already told variable names are also sensitive, right? So age and this age where you have a capitalized A and all characters are capitalized age, all three are different variables. So don't assume, and always be consistent when you are writing code. So don't make age in one line and another line do age with the A caps. Don't do like that. Always be consistent. So these are the legal variable names. And here you can see that my var equal to John. And all these are alphabetical characters. So it is a legal. And we also saw that underscore, adding an underscore is also legal. Underscore, where is underscore? It is in my keyboard, it is after 0. So I should press shift and press that button. If I don't press shift, it will be hyphen. Hyphen also called as minus sign. That is not a valid sign. I mean, that is not a valid character for having variable names. And we also saw about underscores can be used to start a variable name. So this is allowed. This is a valid name. And here you get a more readable variable name where you make starting letter as lowercase and the next word you are making it as capitalizing the first letter of the word. And this is all caps. And you can have numbers in a variable, but they should not begin with, provided they can be in the middle, they can be in the end, but they cannot start a variable name. Okay, those are the four rules we just saw. So these are illegal variable names. Now you should be very familiar with illegal variable names. See, this one is illegal. This is like a red warning. Why it is illegal? Because you cannot start a variable name with a number. And I told you that you cannot have hyphen and all. Underscore is allowed. Hyphen or minus sign is not allowed. So this is also illegal. And this one, you are leaving spaces. You are trying to confuse Python. You are saying that variable, this variable, and they are separated by spaces. No, Python will get confused. So this is an illegal, all illegal variable names. So it's saying invalid syntax for the first line. Python is an interpreter, right? So it will go line by line. So first line, you cannot start a variable with a number. So I am commenting it. Next line. Next line is my var on line 3. I think this one it has taken it up. Okay. So, but don't assume that hyphen will be taken by your interpreter. When you're using, don't take chances. It should be like underscore. Okay. Because it is a browser, it is not a fully equipped Python. Okay. And here there is a space, so that's why it is failing. You cannot have spaces. So just remove the space. Okay. So now it is functional. We have removed all illegal variable names. And now maybe we can rectify this one also. So this is not printing anything because we don't have any print statement. This is just to demonstrate legal and illegal variable names. Okay. So either you can have like my var 2 or my 2 var something anywhere, but it should not begin with the number. All right. So it will be not producing any output. Okay. So I'll close the unused windows. Okay, no error. Okay, this is the multi-word variable name wherein you can have they call it as a camel case. So camel means like there will be a hump, right, in its back. So something like that. So you have a lowercase set of characters, and here you have an uppercase to differentiate that it is a separate word. See, it's a very useful, it's a very kind gesture you are giving to somebody. If you have made it as small v, then people cannot read it clearly. That's like my v, my variable, like that they will read. But here, without even giving spaces, you made them to understand that it is a separate word. Similarly for the next word, name. This is one way of doing, and this is Pascal casing. These are like conventions we follow. So you stick to some convention, some variable naming convention. Okay, these are not Python rules, because Python allows any set of lowercase, uppercase characters. Python doesn't worry. Only programmers will worry. If you mix all with the lowercase, uppercase, they will think we are mad. Okay, so we have to follow some convention. It also depends on the project you are working in. So we call it as like be a Roman in Rome, right? So if they are following some technique, like some kind of casing, you follow that. This is snake casing, where you introduce underscores because you cannot have spaces between words. I did the same for house rent, if you just try to recall. So you can add underscores. My variable name equal to John. So I think we have just crossed an hour of hour and 15 minutes. So I just wanted to give you a break and try to understand where we are, how we are able to follow, and we can have a break, or maybe we can conclude and continue from next week. So I'll just stop sharing my screen, and I'll wait for some feedback.
Speech. So I would like to call upon Satvika to deliver the vote of thanks.
Uh, Shamita, sir have asked for feedback, no? So you can
Yes.
give the feedback about the session
Yeah.
before what
Thanks.
thanks.
Yes, ma'am. So it was much helpful, and we'll be seeing you in the next session. And hope all my students have enjoyed this workshop. And it has been a pleasure having you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Shamita. Thank you, team.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to call upon Satvika to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon. I, Satvika, on behalf of Guru Shri Shanti Vijay Jain College for Women and the entire fraternity of the institution, consider the occasion as a honor and privilege to extend a hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest, Mr. Babu Balu sir, who spared his time from his busiest schedule to grace the occasion. Today, we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will definitely going to be an encouragement for our future events. I would like to thank principal and teachers for participating in this workshop. Today, I take the opportunity to put all my gratitude into words. Your thoughts have enlightened our minds and have shown us a new path. The knowledge you have shared will definitely help us in our future. After listening to your speech, we all got interest to learn Python. I thank everyone again for making this event a success. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you, guys.
okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Today's session we'll wind up.
Sure, sure. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you all for the opportunity. And
Thank
thanks,
you.
organizers and principal.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.